Hey there, bookkeeping side hustle community. It's Kate. We are here with Ben Stein from Keeper, co-founder of Keeper. Probably a familiar face to many of you if you've been around this industry, and if you haven't, he is someone you definitely need to know. He has a very hot application that a lot of folks just rave about, and so we're here to learn about that today. We're recording this in 2024. It's been a while since we've talked to him, so we're going to focus briefly on the demo part. I really want him to focus on the what's new in Keeper, and if he has a whole team that is really ready to give you a full introduction to Keeper. If y'all want more of that detailed demo, how it would work in your practice. So I kind of want him to sort of show off the bells and whistles that might make us really impressed. So we're going to make sure we save plenty of time for that too, but we'll get at a high level of what Keeper is. He's going to introduce himself. Chime in here in the chat. If you're watching this in the future, if you ask questions down below on the YouTube comments, we'll try to respond to those too. And he's in the Bookkeeping Side Hustle Facebook group, so we can always get questions answered there as well. And I think that's all intro I have to say. We're going to dive in. Ben, give us the quick little intro about yourself first. Let us know who we're talking to.
Sure. So thank you so much for the amazing introduction, Kate. And thank you everyone here for joining us today, live now or in the future. So in short, I'm Ben, I'm our CEO. I created Keeper as a direct result of my past job where I used to be the CFO of a tech startup. And it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, that title. So I was doing our bookkeeping, and it was pretty abundantly clear that the tech available to me was not everything we needed to run the month-end close. So basically everything we built in Keeper was either something that I felt like I wanted as part of our month-end close, or as we started working with our amazing customers, something that they wanted. So yeah, very, very excited to continue to present on what we have here today and to continue to make Keeper better every single week.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here and just for always being a supporter of this community. I feel like I've known you since the beginning of Keeper. It's been fun to watch you grow. And I know that there are so many folks who in the community who've listened over the years to what you had to say, that you've taken their requests and you've built them every Wednesday. Y'all ship the new updates, and y'all just steady and focused on our industry. You've kept your eye on the ball, and it's been fun to watch y'all grow. Okay, I'm going to add your screen to the stage,
Okay.
and he'll kind of get into the demo here. I'm going to let you take it away. If I have questions, I'll chime in. If there's a question in the chat, folks who are watching live, I'll try to field those as appropriate, Ben. But kind of want you to take it away. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. Y'all, it's so much more than a month-end close tool now. Like, that's how it started, I think. But he has grown it beyond that. I don't use Keeper because y'all know that I work in FreshBooks, and there's no integration yet. But the things I hear people talk about are beyond those basic things that you built whenever you switch from the startup to building this one simple tool. Now it's like this, almost like some people like manage their practice with it, I feel like. So, and they communicate with clients with it, and there's a lot of stuff. So dive in. Let's go.
Awesome. Thank you. Kate, you hit on a really important point that I will touch on before walking quickly through the demo. So Keeper at its core is about streamlining the month-end close. It's about taking the main work that a bookkeeping or accounting firm does on a month-to-month basis and making that as efficient as possible, making that as automated as possible, while still keeping your quality high and improving your quality. As a result of having built a lot of those tools and listening to our customers, we've built a much broader suite of tools that go beyond just running a streamlined month-end closing Keeper, but really can help you manage your entire practice directly within Keeper, from tools like our client properties, which help you manage structured data. So you can use Keeper sort of like a CRM, to our bulk email blast that let you send emails to all of your clients, to so much more. But really the heart of Keeper is our month-end close. And so that's what I will be demoing for the most part here today.
Got it. Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So right now we are appropriately enough on what we call the close page in Keeper. This is where all of the work for a client gets done. So a few things about how this page is laid out. You have at the top, this sort of top ribbon. This is where you can access things like your high-level client data. That's here in your client info. So you can see we've got those properties here, what their service tier is, maybe who their account manager is if you work with a team, and a lot more. This is also where you can access their files, jump into their client portal, and then also we aggregate all of the comments that I'll talk about shortly up here at the top. Just below that, you have these communication tiles. So this is where if you have questions for your clients or for your clients' vendors, which mostly comes into play in the 1099s tool, this is where you can see those questions. So you can ask your questions all the way throughout the close, and everything gets sort of pulled up right here up to the top so that your questions and your answers are all easily accessible right here in one place. And then below that, you start to get into the tasks of Keeper. So Keeper is a super general form task management solution. So anything that you want to do for a client, you can track here within Keeper. That means we have things like non-closing tasks. So if you have a biweekly recurring payroll task, you can set that up in Keeper. If you have one-off onboarding tasks, you can set that up in Keeper. And then when you're done with your onboarding, you can actually hide the section. And then below that, you have your closing tasks. And your closing tasks are all tied up into here, this what we call area. And inside the area, you have all of your closing sections. So all of these tasks are tied right here to the close that we're working on. But as you start new closes, we'll automatically roll forward all of these tasks to the next month. So essentially, you're performing the same closing checklist month over month.
Nice.
And again, a lot of the top part here is workflow. And it's important to note all of this is fully customizable. I've built this out. This is the way that we run our month-end close. I'll start with some data entry, and then I'll do our journal entries, and then start in on our account recs. But you can reorder things, you can create sections, you can delete sections. So this is really something that is malleable depending on the way that you run the close. And I want to start with the account reconciliation section here as far as the meat and potatoes, because this is where you can start to see the impact of Keeper's sync with QuickBooks. QuickBooks and Xero. I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's one of the new things that we've added since we last demoed, which I believe was June 2022, is we added full support for Xero. So everything that I'm showing right here, happens to be on a QuickBooks file, but it looks exactly the same on Xero. So same exact functionality, but just different ledger under the hood. And that really gets at what is our broader mandate here, which is to give you the same exact closing process, regardless of where the underlying debits and credits sit.
I see. Yeah. So in that client list where you click Demo LLC, that could be 5 QuickBooks clients and 15 Xero clients.
Exactly. And you can actually filter that down here. We can say, let me look at my QuickBooks clients or look at my Xero clients and so on.
Got it. Oh, and then I see unconnected too. So if you are in a different software. So I could use Keeper, is what
you could
saying.
use Keeper. That's right. I will say a lot of the value comes from the direct core integration.
I see. Yeah.
But we do have some more functionality we do plan to build out for unconnected clients in the near term future. So keep on the lookout for that in a future
Got
webinar.
it. Okay, we'll bring you back.
Awesome. Okay, so down here in our account reconciliation section, what we do the account at month end. This is a slightly new feature. We'll also show you if the account balance has changed since you reconciled that account. So we can see if we've posted a new transaction after the date we've reconciled it for. And then you can drill into the register and see all of the details here down below. And this, in a nutshell, is really what Keeper's built off of. It's built off of your accounts. It's built off of your vendors, your entire transaction list. And so everything is all right here in one place. And it's all editable and read write. So if you make a change here, it will sync back to QuickBooks as well.
Now, columns, basically C, it looks like through the cleared where it says reconciled, that looks like a direct pull from QuickBooks.
Yep.
And then the 3 on the right are management stuff, like good thumbs up, thumbs down. That's cool.
Well, so actually what this is for, this is what we call transaction status. And this is basically a way of you saying, like, I've looked at this and it's fine. And so you can mark a transaction as reviewed. We also have this commenting system that is internal comments, so that if you work with a team, you can tag a team member here about a comment, and then this comment will be linked to that transaction wherever you pull it up. So for example, if we left this comment here, we said like tag myself here and say need to edit this journal for this expense.
Okay.
what
The
you'll see
client
is,
doesn't see that though.
yeah, exactly. Because we have both an internal and external commenting system. We add this disclaimer here, so you're never confused whether you're gonna like badmouth your client and your
Good.
client's gonna
Oh
see it.
yeah. Although the older I get, the more I realize I gotta just not type the bad thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
There's
never
some merit
gone
to that as
well.
well, but we try not to be that opinionated in the software.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
but again, as well, I'll get more into this as we start talking about some of the communication tooling. But anywhere you see a transaction, you can also ask your clients about it here as well.
They're getting an email?
So it's a good question. They don't immediately get an email as soon as you ask them this question. That way, you can ask questions throughout the course of the close and sort of compile this list.
Got
And
it.
then when you're ready, you can send one manual email up here by clicking Message Client. This will take you to essentially an email editor, and we have pre-built templates. So you default to the new questions email. So you can literally just come here and click send, or if you're working late at night, you can schedule send it.
Yes.
And you can, of course, create your own emails here. You can create your own email templates. And this connects directly to your practice email. So any emails you send directly from Keeper will go in your outbox. It'll send directly from your email. So there's no Keeper branding anywhere.
That schedule send button, y'all, this is the listener, this is my opinion. I think that shows the maturity that Keeper has grown to. That is a definitely a bell and a whistle, right? That is not like core. They didn't build that on day one, probably. And so just congrats. Y'all are thinking about the way your customers work, and a little box that says schedule send is not the number one thing you build, but you've been able to build these things. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah. Schedule send definitely was also a pretty highly requested feature. And it's another way that we listen to what our customers ask for.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to say one more thing on the account reconciliations, and then we're going to move on to a few more sections here down below.
All right.
The best piece about the account reconciliation section, in my opinion, here is that you can add your supporting documentation to it. So if you have a statement, you can pull that statement right here, upload it to your account reconciliations, and then you're automatically building out your digital work paper as you are working down your reconciliation checklist. So you reconcile Brex cash, you mark it complete, and then you add the Brex statement here as well. Okay. So down here below the account reconciliations, we get onto the review sections. There's 3 review sections in Keeper, and they're each designed to help you look at something in your client's file, some type of issue, so that you can surface potential errors before you actually close the books and deliver financials to your clients. So the transaction review section pulls up potential transaction discrepancies. One example of that is the expense inconsistency report. So here, for example, what we're doing is we're looking at all of your clients' transactions in the last month. We're cross-referencing them against the similar historical transactions in that client's file. And then we're flagging any potential issues where they've been classified differently month over month. So here, for example, we've got Zoom. It's in office supplies. And if we click this arrow for more information, we can see that typically Zoom is classified as software.
Software, yeah.
So Keeper is going to flag that discrepancy. And if you want to correct it, you can click on the cell you want to edit, type the change you want to make, and hit enter here, and it'll instantly sync that change back to QuickBooks.
Okay.
One more thing I'll mention here, so just moving this back to office supplies. Let's say there was, for some reason, that you wanted to actually keep it posted to office supplies. That is coming back to, that's what that status is for.
Okay.
So you can essentially clear it out. You'll still see future Zoom inconsistencies in the future, but it gives you the ability to say, I reviewed this, it's fine, as opposed to needing to necessarily change everything over time.
Got it. I'm thinking like Bluehost, maybe you're paying a monthly subscription, but then once a year you pay for some sort of website insurance or something like that could be different. Okay.
That's a great point. And actually that gets into one other wrinkle we have with these reports, which is your exclusion lists. And so that lets you say, okay, show me only exclude Zoom if, for example, the split is office supplies and the amount is like $500, for example, or the amount is like greater than $100. A really common example where we'll see this is like if you're fuel. So if you go to Shell and you see like a $7 transaction or $10 transaction, that's probably meals.
Snack.
You see a $50 transaction, that's probably gas. So you can say exclude Shell if the split is gas and the amount is over $50. and then do the same thing for meals if it's under $10, and then you'll still get the $11 to $49 range that you can review so that you can drill down further.
Someone needs to send Ben a dinner so he's not eating his meals at Shell.
Yeah, I have on more than one occasion. I am not proud to admit.
Okay. Well, this is awesome, and the immediate sync to QuickBooks and Xero. So, is it fair to say, like your typical client, when they're doing their client's books, are they logging on to Keeper or are they logging on to the bookkeeping software first?
Yeah, great question. So there still are going to be a couple of things you have to do in QuickBooks first. So first and foremost, like classifying transactions from the bank feed, or posting like manual journal entries from, or like managing automated journal entries from payroll systems. The sort of raw data entry primarily is going to happen in QuickBooks, although we'll get to Keeper receipts where that starts to change just a little bit. And then also the bank and credit card reconciliations. You'll still do those in QuickBooks as well. So the reconciliation interface I was showing up here is more still a checklist. So you check them off here. We'll pull that balance from QuickBooks, and then you can add the supporting statements, but you would still perform the reconciliation in QuickBooks as well.
Got it. Okay.
And then after that, pretty much the rest of the close. So you review your management reporting, your communication with your clients, all of that happens directly here in Keeper. All right. So I want to talk a little bit more in depth about what a typical client communication, super common client communication flow could look like.
Okay.
So the next report we have here is uncategorized transactions. This is where you can see any transactions you've posted to a suspense account. And then from here, you can click this question mark, ask your clients a question. You can use a template question. So this is my personal favorite. I use this with my team all the time when I run our own closing Keeper. Can you please give me a detailed receipt? The one that actually has the line items, not the one that just says I spent $400 on Lord knows what. And then when you ask this client question, as I mentioned earlier, that's not going to actually immediately email your client, but instead it will just put it in the portal. And then you can either manually email your clients, or you can actually set up automated reminders that send out on a particular day of the week. One other really nice thing I'm going to talk about this is actually a new improvement, and I think one of the best new changes we've made to Keeper that helps streamline our workflow that much more. I'm actually going to leave Keeper and go back to QuickBooks and talk about one of the new things we've done here as well. And that is, probably need to refresh QuickBooks here. It may boot me out here. We'll see. I tried to be often before the demo. Okay, so of course we have some sort of, who knows, love to run into a QuickBooks issue as I'm demoing Keeper.
Yes.
Anyways, okay, I can do it on any account. It doesn't particularly matter. Let's say, for example, we are looking at a transaction, we're classifying it. It's Adobe. Maybe this is the first time we've seen Adobe. So we're like, we know what Adobe is, it's like software, but maybe we want to ask our clients for confirmation. Here, we can classify it to Adobe. We can classify it to software. And then this is the big change. We added a Chrome extension in Keeper that lets you ask questions directly from the bank feed. So you don't need to even post to a suspense account. You can just ask the question right here, post the transaction, and then the question will immediately go into the portal as well.
So it goes into Keeper to wait until you send it to the client at that point via a Keeper app.
Yeah, exactly. So just to sort of show, for example, we've got Adobe. Let's say, hey, we classified Adobe, or like Adobe is a new vendor. We've classified it to software.
Perfect.
Please let us know if you want it to post elsewhere. And then we can add that as a question, post the transaction. And then what we'll see here is if we actually toggle over here into the portal, we'll see that question shows up here in our transaction questions.
Okay. So ready to be sent up once a week or at the month end or however often you communicate. Okay.
Yep. So you can manually send those. You can automatically send those. And then again, it will be right here for your clients to see all of the questions you've asked them. They can come here and add comments and respond. If you need that receipt that I mentioned earlier, They can upload a file here, and then that will post directly back to Keeper, and you can push it into the attachment in QuickBooks as well. So this is really the single place for all of the questions you have for your clients.
Melanie Willis is saying, "Oh, I love that." So I think to me that's a listening to the clients too, because maybe accounting pros really do feel comfortable inside of QuickBooks, right? Like we're used to it. That's why we went to school for it, all that sort of stuff. And so to have Keeper be like maybe there's a flow where okay, we go into Keeper at certain times rather than like always keeping Keeper open necessarily. So I can imagine there might be some awkwardness at the beginning when you get an app like Keeper, like where do I do my work? And so I would love for y'all to have discussions like in the Bookkeeping Side Hustle Facebook group, y'all, like how are you using Keeper? You know, is it once a month? Is it every Friday? Is it every day? Or do you have QuickBooks on one side, Keeper on the other? Because there's probably like an ideal, well, everyone's going to have their own, I guess, but I think everyone needs to come up with it so you're not just like going back and forth, because then maybe you're going to like, you won't be better off. So the apps can be like app fatigue us. So you want to use this in like a maximizing way, not in a I have more work to do way.
Totally. And that is one thing that I think we can really help with. Kate, we were just talking about this
Yeah.
before we started recording. We're strong believers that the software is there to solve your business problems. And with that in mind, we try to staff real human beings to answer your questions. How should I best use this? Can I get help with training? So we're always here to help. If you ever have any questions as you're using Keeper, as you're getting started, you can pop here in the chat, send us a message. We'll get back to you. And then you can also, we're also happy to schedule calls so that if you want just sort of more guided high level training, we can do that as well.
Well, and y'all have a monthly Q&A too, is that right? Like an open time to get questions answered and also talk to friends. Like I would want to find other Keeper users if I was going to invest in Keeper. I think that would be like call Ben and his team, and then the next call is find a friend who's using Keeper.
Yeah. There's we do a monthly webinar, has Q&A, has a overview of all the new features we ship. Sometimes we'll bring on a guest speaker as well. That is the last Tuesday of every month. And
Okay.
I think it is 10 a.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll have to confirm and send you those details after.
Well, people will know if they're using Keeper. Go make those relationships so you can learn how to. You got to learn Keeper, but then you also have to learn how to use the tool in your workflow. Those are kind of two different things. So, all right, what else do you want to demo? I keep talking too much.
No, I appreciate it. Okay, so that's uncategorized transactions. We talked about how you can ask them directly here in Keeper, how you can ask them in the bank feed right inside QuickBooks as you're working. We talked about what the clients will see. They've got this sort of customizable portal, custom branded behind your own firm domain with your logo and color scheme, and they can jump right here into their transaction questions to see them. I also mentioned you can manually message your clients, and then you can also set up automated email reminders. So this is where you do that. You just check this box, and your clients will get weekly or bi-weekly or however often you want email reminders about any outstanding unanswered questions still sitting in the portal.
Okay.
And then when the clients respond, you'll see all of their questions here in this tile up at the top, your transaction questions. And then this is where you can come in and reclassify the transactions to whatever you want to classify them to. So there's a whole lot more in the portal, things like non-transaction questions, things like a place for your clients to upload files for you, things like financial reports. So Keeper has a management reporting module where you can build these customizable financial reports directly here inside Keeper that go beyond just the 3-statement financials. So it also contains a sort of one-pager executive summary so that if your clients only have 30 seconds to read their financials, they can come right here and see the financials. You can track custom key metrics for them. Of course, we've got the full financial statements and everything you'd like to deliver for your clients. And we even have this new tool, a new tool actually since we last demoed, which is what we call Keeper Metrics. And specifically, this is Metrics 2.0. We have an entirely rebuilt from the ground up visualization library to give your clients prettier, more intuitive, and easier to understand visual perspectives on what's going on in their business.
I remember when we first met, like this was the thing you said when you were a CFO, this is what you needed. And so this is what you built. And this is Keeper like beta, y'all. These management reports, and everyone went gaga over them, and they do look so pretty. And so you've even improved upon them from like 3 or 4 years. I mean, this is old school Keeper, this management report. And I assume it's only gotten better, but also it like never was bad. I remember the bar charts. People were like, "Oh my gosh!" And so I just remember that from our first stream, that it was really impressive. And you can save it, you can customize it across clients, right? Or sorry, you can not customize it. You can apply it across clients. So you know that your process is, hey, everybody, our one pager looks like this. Obviously, customize it if you have to, but when you want to systematize things, y'all, it helps you scale, right? So this is a scaling tool, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is sort of improvements on some of the flexibility with what you can do with the data visualization here. But yeah, Kate, as Kate was mentioning, we have this way to create this sort of base package and then apply it across all of your clients in like 10 clicks. So so designed to be super easy to run your close one way and then standardize that close across all of your clients.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we got to head towards. If you want to earn a good income in this industry, we can't have every client be a special flower unless they're paying us a ton of money. So
exactly. Yeah. There's a time and a place for specialization, but there's also a time and a place for standardization so that you can streamline and scale.
Especially like if you have like a simple one, like if you're working with smaller clients, y'all, who've never had any reporting, you can kind of almost have them like the new clients reporting. And it's just like, we're just going to get you like out of drowning, right? And then we'll start to be like, more detailed advising. But right now you've never even known what your profit was. So we're going to give you a nice little simple report.
Yep. And I think one interesting thing about putting the management reports in the portal is the fact that what that does is it gives your clients another reason to log into the portal. So Keeper is all about getting you the information you need so that you can run a faster month-end close. And by putting the financials in the portal, the clients will go to the portal. They'll see all the other things you're waiting on. So they'll see the statement they haven't given you in 3 months. They'll see the transaction questions you need their input on. They'll also see any files they thought they needed to ask you for, or any questions they may need to ask you. So by putting more in the portal, you get better, you get more people interested in logging into the portal, more people opening here and seeing your questions, answering it so that you can run a faster month-end close.
I feel like in general in accounting land, I've heard this idea of like client portal is a thing it's hard for accountants and for apps to cross. Are y'all getting good feedback from like the client side, or people's clients going here? Is it still really hard?
Yeah, it's a great question. And what we found is we try to do a lot to reduce the barriers to entry to getting into the portal. So one of the biggest barriers to entry is the very first barrier you run into, which is like you're a new client. You go to log into the portal for the first time, and it's like set up a username or password.
Yeah.
And you don't want to set up a username or password, so you just don't log into the portal, and the questions just sit there; they don't get answered. So what we do instead is we use magic links as the primary authentication mechanism for logging into the portal. Basically, what that means is you get emailed, the client gets emailed a link, and they click that link, and it takes them directly here into the portal. So there's nothing they need to learn, no passwords they need to save and forget and bother you about. And they just get taken straight here into the portal so they can immediately answer the question. What we have seen is with a portal that works, by the way, here, it also works super well on your phone. It's just it just looks like a mobile app, but it's just a link you need to click. But by making a portal that is super accessible, wherever you can click a link, clients are actually super responsive to that. They are super happy to like answer questions that way instead of answering like 7 bullets in an email or a spreadsheet of questions that they need to like download on their computer. So, so we've seen the portal be a huge step forward for responsiveness for a lot of clients. And we're also working to incorporate other mechanisms of input for clients who are not super interested in using the portal as well. So that will be for a future update. We can talk about that.
Joanna, who also said she loves the schedule send on the email earlier, she says now that she's gotten great feedback from clients about this, and great feedback even from a vendor who received a W-9 request. So yeah, that's another like interested party, another stakeholder that you're trying to communicate to, is this vendor like, no, I'm not giving you on W-9. I can't do that. Like, but she did it. So, okay. Way to go, Joanna, and way to go, Keeper.
Awesome. And I think that's actually a good transition point for me to go and talk about one more report in a different section here. And that is not the transaction review, but the payee review. So we have a bunch of reports in here to help you catch issues like duplicate vendors or new vendors you've just posted to the ledger. But one in particular that I want to talk about that has gotten a ton of improvement over the course of the last year since we demoed is the Prepared 1099s report. So what this report does is it shows you all of your clients' vendors sorted in descending order of spend, excluding any credit card spend, excluding any spend on non-reportable accounts, and importantly, excluding any spend under the $600 IRS 1099 threshold. And what you can see here is you can see all of the vendor information, anything you have or may be missing, and then you can request that missing information directly from your clients or from the vendors. So I'm going to delete this request here. It's from a previous demo. So basically what you can do here is if you see El Segundo Roofers, they're at $26,000. We've got an email for them, but we don't have a W-9 on file. You can ask the client in the portal, but what we actually have seen has driven the best responses is asking the vendor. So the way that works is you click Ask Vendor here. Since you've got the email, what this is going to do is it's going to email the vendor here directly from Keeper, but it's going to be through your email. So it will look like it's coming from you. And it will create essentially this link where they can upload their W-9. So just to show what that link looks like, oops, I did not copy the link correctly. So to show what that link looks like, they'll get an email and they can click this link. It will take them to this custom branded portal. If they have a W-9, they're on top of their work. They can just drag and drop it right here and call it a day. But if they don't have a W-9, they have no idea what a W-9 is. All they need to do is click here to fill one out. And then they can fill one out as either an individual or business, walk through the sort of form filling experience, e-sign it at the bottom, and you'll get a fully filled out W-9 for your records at the bottom.
And this is the bookkeeper getting the W-9, not the client, though, right? At this point.
So this would be going directly to the vendor.
Yeah, but whenever the vendor responds,
yes.
the answer is going to me, the bookkeeper, and I will just let my client know, hey, by the way, I got the W-9. I guess we would add it to the client profile, or is that two-way synced too? Like once it's uploaded, because in QuickBooks we can store W-9s too, right?
Yep. Yeah, you can push this W-9 here back into QuickBooks. And one thing I'll mention here, this is a W-9 that's sort of coupled to this particular vendor. And so when you fill this out here, I'll just fill this out. Let's just say it's the name is like Bob Smith Plumbing Company. And this is 1234 Main Street, Houston, Texas. All right, we're just going to fill this out as quickly as possible and submit that. So when you submit this, this will, let me go back into Keeper. We'll see, rerun the report here. I may need to actually refresh the page. So that should show when I refresh the page. But you can see here, we've got that new W-9 that we just filled out. It's got the name. It's got all that information. We can see it checked as a C Corp. And then you can fill in their EIN tax ID, their street address here, and then upload that to the vendor record in QuickBooks as well.
Okay. Laura Blackburn says, superb.
One other really nice thing about these vendor requests, I've talked about what happens if this is like the worst case scenario, although it's oftentimes the base case scenario, which is you see a vendor, you've already paid them $26,000 and you don't have their W-9 yet. The best case scenario is you train your clients not to pay a vendor before you've requested a W-9 from them. We actually have a feature for this here as well. It's up here at the top in your vendor requests, and it's what we call static vendor request links. So here you can click add request. There's a W-9 request option here, and then this is a link that is tied to this vendor right here, or this client right here, DemoCo. And what it will let you do is it will let you send this link to anyone. And if we go back to Keeper, when any vendor responds, it will notify the client back as well. So that way the client can see, oh, this vendor responded, now I'm all good to pay them. So that's relevant, especially if you don't do AP or AR for the client. So that way the client has this sort of keyed in notifications they can go and pay.
Okay.
One last cool thing I'll talk about here in the vendor requests is you can also advertise your own firm services. So especially as you're starting out getting clients, you may be doing a lot of 1099 work, and the people you're sending this request to may very well think, well, gosh, I wish my bookkeeper was doing this.
Yeah.
And so what you can do is you can create this custom link. You can put it in the bottom left-hand corner. You can customize the text. You can customize what it links to. You can have it linked to a Calendly, maybe a particular landing page on your website. And then when you are sending these W-9 requests, we actually have seen a decent number of firms get clients from just the work they're already doing here.
Golly, his bookkeeper's better than my bookkeeper. I better call her. Okay,
Right,
nice.
right. So
that's clever. That's clever.
that's
I
vendor
appreciate
request.
that.
Yeah, it's like I said, all designed around making the firm's work easier, starting with the close, but rippling much beyond that.
If y'all have questions who are watching live, go ahead and ask them right now. We're just getting praise for Ben, which is also fine. Also fine.
And then once you have that W-9, of course, you can fill in all of their information, tax information here. You can also even specify what type of 1099 they'll get at year end. And then when year end rolls around, you've finalized all your numbers. All you need to do is download this to Tracker Tax 1099. You'll get 2 e-file ready CSVs that you can upload and then e-file at the e-filing solution of your choosing.
We're supposed to not have a busy season. That's the tax people, but we do. And this is a way around that, y'all.
Exactly.
Get out of that January busy season.
This is like nowhere, I think, in accounting is it more true that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure than in the Prepare 1099s report.
Yes.
Because you can run this report on a monthly basis as part of your close. Super easy to see all of the vendors you're missing documentation for. Request it right then and there in the month that you paid the vendor, and not 7 months later when the vendor has forgotten the existence of what an EIN is, what a W-9 is, like who they paid, who they got paid by. So this makes it so much easier to take all of that January, December, November work, spread it out across the entire year, and get faster responses in the meantime.
Yep. Angela says it's to have a quality of life improvement. She's been building out her templates and getting ready to move all her clients in to Keeper. It's a lot of places you can make changes. So yeah, very cool, Angela. Awesome.
And I'll show one more report here, which is our P&L review. This is my personal favorite report. It's actually the first report we wrote in Keeper. And the thing I like about this report is it's designed to give you the sort of logical question and answer about the financials about your client's financials. So the first thing we do is we automatically flag any income or expense accounts that change significantly from their historical trend. So we can see office supplies is up 2,000% month over month, from like $30 or $100 to $1,600.
Okay.
And then the next logical question you want to ask is why. But in particular, in high volume accounts where you may have hundreds of transactions or dozens of vendors, it's super hard to piece that out starting from the transaction level. So what we do is we allow you to go to the vendor level. And so here you can see all of your clients' vendors who you classify transactions to in office supplies, and then how your spend with the different vendors is trending over time. So here we can see almost all of this increase is due to increased spend with North Face. And then the next one is with Amazon here. And then if you want, you can even continue drilling down further here and go immediately down to the next level here. We can see this is for a country launch. This is the individual transaction. So maybe we want to move this to promotional materials.
I see.
Everything in Keeper is immediately live synced back to QuickBooks. And that's going to reduce our office supply spend here considerably.
Okay. More meaningful story.
Yeah, exactly. Just to show one other example here, we can see software. You can see how your high-level spend with different vendors is trending over time. We can see our second top vendor here went to 0 in June. That might be a key to drill down and see, okay, did we cancel this vendor? Did we should these actually be capitalized and amortized? Was this annual software costs? Or did we forget to upload a bill? So those are process questions. Those are things you might ask your clients or your team about, but Keeper helps you surface those questions so you make sure you get them addressed before you actually deliver the close.
Yeah, you don't see them if you don't have Keeper. You're exactly. Like, huh? Yeah. I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's the review in a nutshell. So it's really the heart of a lot of what you can do in Keeper. You can see you can edit anything right here in Keeper, and it will sync those changes back to QuickBooks. And that's really after your reconciliation. That's the meat of a lot of what you can do to clean up the books, so that you can be ready to deliver those reports that I was showing that you can.
The management reports from Keeper.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. So I do have some additional changes. We already talked about some new improvements. We've already talked about some of them here, like adding 0 and the Chrome extension and the vendor requests and static vendor request links. But I do have one other super big new change that we released. It's still in beta today, but it should be going live. Anyone can access it who uses Keeper today. So it's a public beta, and it should be going to general availability soon. And that is Keeper Receipts.
Ooh.
So in short, it is a way to get all of the documentation you need from your clients, whether it's a receipt, whether it's a bill, or whether it's a bank statement as well. Keeper Receipts consolidates every type of document you might want to request your clients and puts it all in one place. So we looked at the client portal earlier. We saw we had that box here. Anytime your clients drag and drop a file in here, that's going to go into the client uploads tile right here, and you're able to see that. That's not a part of Receipts. That's part of the core of Keeper. So Receipts is sort of additional product that sits on top, but you don't need Receipts to use that. So in Receipts, essentially, it's your client uploads inbox on steroids. So you get a few other additional options for how your clients can send you information. They can forward in emails here. So they can forward an email to a particular address. You have one unique address per client. And then they can also text your practice phone number, any images that they want to send, and then those will all come here into the client uploads inbox as well.
So we're seeing the Keeper Receipts interface right now, just different. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you said it's a separate product. Does that mean, is it an additional cost above Keeper?
It is an additional cost.
Okay.
So right now during the beta, it's an additional $5 per client. If when the beta goes live, it'll be an additional $15 per client on top of the Keeper subscription.
And so this is a competitor to like a Dext and a HubDoc functionality?
Yeah, so I think we do some things differently. I would say if you are using both Keeper and one of those tools, I would strongly recommend checking out Keeper Receipts. It helps you centralize all of the work for your team and for your clients, so you can truly have one place to manage all of that work. But I would also say, even if you're not using one of those solutions, would definitely recommend checking out Keeper Receipts as a way to get more information from your clients that might currently not be getting sent to you at all.
Okay, and those receipts will eventually sync to the transaction and push to the QuickBooks too. So it's living in two places?
So basically, once your clients send you that information, we'll scan it. If we recognize it's a transaction, we'll put it down here in this transaction files table. If we think it's not a transaction here, we'll leave it in your uploads inbox. So for example, your clients can send you a statement and we'll leave the statement here. That way you might move the statement to a task. You might move it to a custom file folder, which is a new feature built out within Keeper. And that way you can have sort of split out, this is the stuff I need to post to Ledger versus this is the stuff I want to move to some other place within Keeper.
Okay.
But for those transactions that you have here in, for transactions that you have within, that you send, your client send in, you'll see those here. Let me actually upload. I may not have uploaded any, but so here, it's a good example. So this is a receipt here. We can see one of the things, first thing we'll notice is because Keeper is connected to the ledger, will automatically suggest potential matches. That way it's a huge reduction in the number of duplicate transactions you might post. So here we'll see we've got an Ashby transaction that's the same date, same amount. So instead of posting that as a duplicate transaction, you can just match it here, and that'll just take this this PDF and attach it into the transaction in QuickBooks as well.
Got it. Okay. So this is like, if I'm just, my thought is, this isn't like, I mean, I'm sure the coding is hard. I'm sure it is hard, but in the general, nothing that you've said about Keeper receipts is, you know, it's there's a lot of receipt apps. What the benefit is here is that you are trying to build a single place for a firm to operate out of and for clients to operate out of. So it's not like, here are your reports, but here is other app to put your receipts in. So is that a fair statement? I mean, I'm glad that y'all worked hard, but
yeah, I wouldn't. I would say, broadly speaking, the biggest value you're going to get in receipts is the fact that it is an all-in-one place for you and an all-in-one place for your clients. So there's huge amounts of value in not needing to have yet another different software solution, yet another different tool to try and explain to your clients how it works. So that way, with Keeper Receipts, you can have everything. You can just train your clients. Here's the portal. Here's your email. It all goes into this one system, and then your team only has one place they need to look for stuff that your clients sent you.
Because every time someone has to touch something, whether it's a team member or a client, there's like training, there's things breaking, there's possible migrations away, like just so much. So yeah, I mean, I agree. So I always try to tell it like it is. So to me, this is the true value of this, is it's a one-stop shop. It's more and more making Keeper a one-stop shop to run your business, which is kind of how we started this conversation, which you're like, at its core, Keeper's a month-end close. And then I said, hey, I got to say, Keeper's more than a month-end close. And this is an example of that. It's more than a month-end close.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's very true. And I think that's also maybe a great point to transition to some of the improvements we've made to the client list.
Okay,
we've talked a lot about what it looks like to run a close for one client and all the things you can do to streamline your work for a single client. But a lot of the magic in Keeper is we hit this home button right here, and that's going to take you back to the client list. And this is a way to see a dashboard of all of the work you need to do across all your clients. This is where Keeper starts to bring in concepts like a client properties, which is sort of our version of a CRM. It's how you can see what things you need to work on next. One of the other particularly nice features I like is it lets you see your latest published financials. So if you're like running into a meeting with a client, you just pull up Keeper, you can click right here. You can see all the financials you've ever published for a client, and you can see that same financial statement that they're seeing in their portal right here on the client list.
I like it. Yeah, this is reminding me of when people are kind of going gaga about Keeper being like their firm management tool. I feel like it's kind of like this. So you come here, where am I going today? How much red, how much green am I seeing? Okay, now I know. And you got I see that it's a team-based thing too, because I see your pictures in different spots. So who's working on what?
Yeah, exactly. So we can say if I'm a reviewer and I just want to see all of the clients for whom I'm a reviewer, you can create that as a view here just by filtering, and save that as a custom view. And then I have all of these views here for different types of work that I may do. So that way you can just go to the view that you want to work out of, and it doesn't have to be the same view that your teammates are working on.
I see. Okay. Y'all get your questions in when those of you still listening live, if you've got any, and now's the time to ask him. Or on the last Tuesday of the month. You can. That's
right. Yeah, you can. or at any time, you can always shoot us an email or pop into the chat. We're always happy to help.
Is there anything else you want to demo today, Ben?
I think that's probably a good place to pause. I of course could talk your ear off, but I think we'll pause here now, and maybe I'll open it up to some questions.
So as of now, there have been no questions typed in. Again, just praise. Angela is giving one bit of feedback, and Angela, I might actually just tell you to message this keeper. It's something to do with a little fly out, and you have to click the X to get out of something. And so that's like, sounds like a feature request. I'd probably make a little Loom video and send that to Ben. And they are known for building things pretty fast. So so the best way for people to contact y'all if they're a new customer is, well, actually, y'all, I have a referral link for bookkeeping. I think it's down here in the YouTube description would be the link for our community, which would be great. But otherwise, keeper.app is their website. Is that the best place for people to go to start? Or do y'all have like an intro to Keeper club that people join? Or how do they get in touch?
Yeah, so definitely, if you're ready to get started, we have a 14-day free trial. Use Kate's link. It'll give you 20% off your first 3 months of Keeper. So that's if you're ready to get started, that's how you can get started. Of course, you can always pop into our chat and ask any questions. We also have a Keeper users Facebook group.
Okay, there you go. This is the good stuff.
3,500 members in it now. So we're trailing considerably behind bookkeeping side hustle, but we're working on it. So you can just go ahead and search for Keeper users. Also, Kate, I can send this to you afterwards.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description here, but Keeper users is pretty easy. Look for the purple. They've been purple the whole time, I think, since this is where you're going to find your Keeper friend, y'all. And Angela, like, you're the perfect example. You're wanting to have that quality of life improvement that Keeper is going to potentially bring. But there's probably going to feel some days where you're like, hold on, it's hard to implement this new app. And Ben's probably not going to say, no, it's not going to be hard, right? But like, is it going to make January a lot better? Is it going to make you charge higher prices because you have those management report templates? Yes. But you gotta learn the tool, just like how it was so hard to learn QBO when you first started, right? There's 9,000 places to click, and you probably need to start with about 40 of those places, right? And you need to know which 40 to start with, and then keep getting better, keep learning, find the friend in the Facebook group here, go to those monthly meetings. That would be my suggestion. Don't let it, if it's starting to overwhelm you, just do a little bit less with it until you learn, just don't eat the whole elephant at a time.
Totally. I think that's great advice. And also just want to reemphasize, feel free to ask us. If you're overwhelmed, you need some help, we're happy to hop on a call. We've always set as our mandate, we aim to be the vendors we wish we could work with. So that means if you're lost in the tool, reach out, ask us a question, and we're happy to give you dedicated support, whether that's over email, over chat, or over a live call. The software is no good if you can't figure out how to use it. So we strive to have humans to help you get the most out of the software as well.
I've met some of your humans. Y'all are on the pretty regular on the accounting conference roadshow that you're sending team members to and that you go to.
Yes.
So everyone needs to say hi to them for sure. They got the simple white background with the purple letters. Easy to find.
Easy to find. The one app to run your bookkeeping business. I think sometimes at the trade shows we'll do Keeper is for closers. But we're at all the shows. Starting, I think next week is when the roadshow really starts to kick off.
Okay. No questions came in, Ben. I think that means you've explained it well. And I think people also know that, again, this was supposed to be a highlight of what it does, and then also the impressive features that make people go crazy for Keeper. And they're like, this is a no-brainer. Like, I have to use Keeper for every client. That there are literally thousands of people who feel that way, y'all. So go ask them about, like, how did you get to the point where you feel like you can't live without Keeper? Those are the people to talk to, as well as Ben's team. Mariette says she loves the Keeper is for closers. Was that at Appy Camp? Did we come up with that?
Yes, that was.
Yeah, that's right. Camp. I remember that.
That was Gene Zick who came up with that.
Yes. Okay, we're going to wrap up. This has gone plenty long. I want y'all to reach out to Ben's team. That's the best way. These software vendors, especially if you're new and you haven't, like, do I really just like reach out to an app? Yes, really reach out to an app. And the ones that are customer service oriented will help you and will say, this is how we want you to succeed, because they know that once you love Keeper, you're going to use them for all of your clients. And that's how it works. So Let's sign off. We have kept it under an hour, which is good for us, Ben. Good to see you. We'll bring you back as y'all keep developing. I'll keep us updated in the group about the new things you're building. Congrats on the receipts. Are you looking for feedback about that? Should people who are using it?
Yeah. There's many ways. We'll take feedback in any way you want to give it to us. If you have specific feedback on receipts, receipts_feedback@keeper.app goes directly to me, to the product team, to the engineering team. And we are making weekly improvements to that, just like with everything else.
All right.
So please, if there's something you want to see in Keeper, make your voice heard.
Awesome. All right. We're going to sign off, y'all. See y'all next time. Bye.